Hey, what's up guys, the Lion's Legacy here. My review of the Call of Duty Modern Warfare beta is finally here. I think I need to have the entire weekend to come up with a well-informed and balanced opinion of the game. Also, let me give you a disclaimer though. At the end of the day, we all have our own opinions, right? So if you disagree with me, it's fine. But I want you to take into account the following context. I'm 23. I've literally played every single Call of Duty that's ever been released. And actually recently, a couple of months ago, I went back and played every single Call of Duty on my Twitch stream. So my opinion of this beta isn't based on a nostalgic dreamland of memories that I constructed from rose-colored glasses. As a kid around age 14, I wasn't very good at the game, but with lots of hours of practicing in solo isolation, I finally got to be good at every single COD that would be released thereafter. Now, much like me, I'm sure you guys hate hearing some cocky prick going on about how awesome they think they are at something, right? And you're right, but for this review, it matters. I'm not some no-thumb Timmy whose mom turns off the console from hearing him scream at dying in a video game. I'm a veteran of the game, as pathetic as that sounds, and with that there comes expectations of myself, of the game, and of the community managers and developers. Call of Duty was that void that I poured my heart and soul into when my school, my friends, my family, they all disappointed me. So with all that being said, let's get right into the review. First of all, I'm going to start off by listing the pros and cons in this game, or in other words, what I like about the beta and what I don't. Then I'll talk about some of the deal breakers that are in this game that must be fixed for me to actually buy the game. Some of the negative things I can actually live with, and that's why they're in the cons category and not a deal breaker, but the deal breakers will literally lead me to canceling my pre-order of Call of Duty Modern Warfare. So let's start with the pros, shall we? This game is different. It has a really high skill gap. There's different recoil patterns, different sounds, and even the sprinting mechanics have changed. And that's not a bad thing. That's going to challenge us to try to be better players by having to adapt to these new changes. That's a good thing. There's also the gunsmith feature, which allows for customization of your gun. There's 30 to 60 attachments for each gun in the game, so you can tailor your gun to fit your playstyle, which is fantastic. But there's a balancing issue here that I'll discuss in the cons category. They're also introducing crossplay between the PC, PS4, and Xbox One. So this gives us the ability to play with our friends if we want to. And it also puts the age-old question to the test: which console player is superior? I'm sure it's PS4. They've also made all the bullets projectiles with bullet drop in the game, so it adds a new level of difficulty because now you have to track your opponents, so every kill is much more rewarding when you do get them. The graphics and the sounds are much better, the kill streaks are easy to get, and when you do get them, they're pretty fun to use, so I'm a big fan of that as well. There's also the addition of the 2v2 gunfight game mode, which is my favorite game mode by far. You can go on a 15 win streak just with your friend or a random teammate, and it's really fun to play, man. I'm really a big fan of that game mode. There's also the no season pass, so the player base won't be divided when there's any kind of new DLC released. I'm also a really big fan of this as well because I do enjoy playing in new DLC maps, and I don't want to be left there searching in that playlist for 10 minutes or trying to find one game, you know? There's also the new addition of the realism and night vision goggles game modes, and these are being well received by the community, so I'm also a big fan of that. Now, let's get to the cons, and these are by no means few and far in between. First of all, the maps are asymmetric and they lack that 3-lane design that we're all used to. Even worse, they've reintroduced the power positions that have the advantage of elevation, so that drastically slows down the gameplay. So now every map has a good and bad side. There are also the doors, which are very annoying. If you run through a door, you can hear it from Mars, right? And people who are camping, people who are playing that defensive position, it's very easy for them to hold that choke point down and just camp in a corner, because when a rusher comes in through the door, they have to look through every single line of sight in that field of view, and that's very hard for that person to get that kill. So they're not a fun new addition to the game. They slow down the game. They should be either taken out or they should kind of change them. Also, every map is cluttered with too much junk that doesn't need to be in there. It's too many dark corners, too many things, too many little rocks, too many, there's so much junk. It reminds me of Ghost. Black Ops 2, great design. Black Ops 4, the map design, clean. Everything is super easy to see. You can rush in there. It's fun. It's fun to play. The colors are bright. It's nice. But everything, there's so many dark corners that you have to check as a rusher that it's not even worth playing this game fast, right? It's much better to play it slow, play defensive, try to get a power position, and just wait there. And that's not a fun game. That's not how Call of Duty should be, right? I'm not a fan of that. The gameplay is very slow and clunky. Your character actually feels really heavy. They feel like they're 450 pounds trying to run through a door. It's just really clunky, man. And the time to kill is so quick that any defensive player who's watching a choke point will get that kill on that rusher. And it's just not fun to try to push around corners, you know? So also, it's almost comparable to Modern Warfare 3 or Ghosts. It's just, and Ghosts wasn't a well-received game. I don't know what they're thinking about making the time to kill so small. I don't think it should be as big as BO4 because it's almost insane how people can just like take 6 bullets and go heal up and come back and challenge you and kill you, right? But at the same time, like, you shouldn't be able to kill somebody in 2 shots when you're right beside them with an AR. Also, the aim assist in this game is very weak as compared to recent Call of Duties, and this is an easy fix. Please fix it, Infinity Ward. I'm sure you can. Another thing is the claymores are too inconspicuous, right? You can't see them, they're not visible to you most of the time, and when you do see them, it's too late. There's no way to react to it, there's no way to escape them, you just die. And this happens too many times. Imagine you're on a 25 gun streak, right? 5 kills away from your nuclear. And what happens is somebody places a claymore on the doorway that you're trying to breach, right? There's no way, if you see that claymore, you are dead. There's no way you can escape that claymore. So it's just not fun. It really slows down the gameplay and it's just not fun. As well, head glitching is back and bullets come out of people's heads, so people who are playing in a defensive position have a drastic advantage over any rushers. There's also the respawn delay in every game mode, and this is just tedious, ridiculous, and a spit in anyone's face who wants to get right back into the action. Lastly, the gunsmith attachment cons are too many and too hard to balance for most players. I find that when I'm trying to tailor a gun to my playstyle, with additional attachments, I'm accruing too many cons to make the gun viable, so it's almost better for me to have less attachments and just have the key ones than it is to have all the attachments that I can have. Now, let's get to the deal breakers. If there is no minimap, then you don't know where your teammates are, and that means where your enemies aren't. So you're just running around like a chicken with your head cut off and you die 50 times in a row trying to find that one camper who's hiding in a building in different corners of the building every time, right? And it's just not fun. Having no minimaps rewards campers. Why? Because when there's a minimap, then you can see a red dot popping off over and over and over again in that same building, so you want to go get that camper and it's much easier to get them. But when there's no minimap, then you have no idea where they are, which side of the building they're on. They can be at the bottom floor, they can be on the top floor, you have just no idea. This is just an insane thing for Infinity Ward to do. It really rewards campers to not have the minimap. It's not that it's a bad thing that they're taking away the minimap, it's just that balance between campers and rushers, it gets swayed towards the campers when you don't have a minimap. Also, the mounting and leaning feature is too overpowered, man. There's too much of the actual character being hidden behind that wall or a pillar that they're mounting or leaning on that it just makes it so hard to get them, and it makes camping that much easier and rushing impossible. So for me, if these two things aren't being fixed, then I'm not going to buy the game. If there's no minimap with red dots, I don't want to play the game. Also, if there is a mounting or leaning that just completely hides away most of the character, I also don't want to play the game. That's just going to encourage camping. It's going to be just like Ghost. I don't like that. I don't want to play it. Now, even though I've been negative about the game for what feels like the past 10 hours, I still feel that Infinity Ward has a chance to fix these issues because they've released games like Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2 in the past, which were both fantastic CODs. Finally, I'm going to rate the beta out of 10. This composite score will come from an average of 5 criteria, including guns, maps, connection, gameplay, and overall experience. On the screen, you can see what I've chosen to rate each of these criteria. My composite review score in this beta is 7.2 out of 10. Hopefully within the next coming weeks, these issues that I've outlined will be fixed as well. So the question to ask is if it's fixable, and the answer is yes! Call of Duty is an arcade shooter. It's not Battlefield, it's not Rainbow Six Siege, and the franchise has dominated the FPS industry for many years. So they shouldn't be going to games with smaller fan bases and player bases to take hints on what they should innovate in their game, right? A lion doesn't concern himself with the opinion of a sheep. Instead of taking away previous features like the minimap, they should be adding new dynamic features into the game and incentives for players to grind the game. For example, you could have a weekly tournament for different clans with different challenges with small prize pools. These could range from $5 to maybe $100, and basically, let's say if you get a certain amount of wins in an hour, then you win that clan battle or whatever it is. And that can actually make people want to grind the game. Finally, and most importantly, unfortunately in this game, we're penalized for moving, right? So they have to either buff the run and gun weapons such as the SMGs, right? Or maybe they can have a feature where an outline of the most inactive opponents appears on your map, where you can see where they are because they're so inactive, and they can be removed as they become more active in the map. So these are the methods that I propose for Infinity Ward to actually fix their game. I really do hope that this Call of Duty will be a hit, but if it's not, it'll be for one of the reasons I listed. Thank you guys so much for watching my review. I hope you guys did enjoy the gameplay and the review. Please in the comments down below, let me know what you agree with me on, what you disagree with me on, and what you think I missed in this review. If you did like the gameplay in the background, please hit me with that thumbs up button and hit that subscribe and notification bell. I'd really appreciate it. I'm going to be coming out with a Black Ops 4 video because I really miss playing that game after the beta. I will see you in the next one, guys. Thank you for watching and peace out.